Welcome back to episode 4 of the Retriever Handler podcast.
4's up. That's funny you did that because that's like my biggest pet peeve. Not so much like but like in college football, when the third quarter ends, everyone will put up 4s. I guess reminding everyone that hey, it's the fourth quarter. Let's lock in. Let's go try to win this game. As if quarters 1, 2, and 3 didn't matter. Can't stand it. You know what else I can't stand? When Penn State will say, "Let's go 1-0 this week," and now other teams are starting to do that now too. Yeah, of course, let's go 1-0 this week. Why are you saying something that doesn't need to be said? Let's go win the game. Don't try to be different and say, let's go 1-0 this week.
Sounds like you got beat.
You know what else makes me mad?
All right.
I'll stop there.
Episode 4 of the Retriever Handler podcast. We have a guest this week. His name is Matt Michael. He's a good new friend of ours. We just met him last year at one of our hunt tests, and we're lucky enough that he joined us on our podcast.
Yeah, we had a good interview, so I hope you enjoy it. Use code podcast for 10% off the Retriever Handler store. We still have hats. We have a limited amount of hoodies left, so get them while you can.
And here's Matt Michael from Killbuck Valley Retrievers.
All right, so we'll just jump right into it. Matt, thank you for joining us today. Matt is a trainer at Killbuck Valley Retrievers, and you're in what part of Ohio? Is that Killbuck, Ohio?
It's probably 3 miles from Killbuck. I'd technically be in Coshocton, Ohio. I'm southeast Ohio.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Southeast Ohio. Okay, yeah. And you and I actually met in Bethany, I think for the first time last year it was in Springboro. I don't know if it was our test, ours meaning Southwestern PA, or High Flyers. Do you remember which one that was?
I don't. They all kind of run together. I just remember we're at Springboro.
I want to say,
but you've been coming to our tests for a while, haven't you?
A couple years. I've only been running HR 3 years. I've been running a lot of AKC. I'm closer to AKC tests. We don't have. The only Ohio HRC tests 4 hours from my house. So
yeah, we understand.
Yeah.
So to start this all off, we kind of want to do like a rapid fire question. We have 20 of them here. They're real simple. It's just like first thing that comes to your head. Just blurt it out. And they range from all different sorts of things. So just kind of way to break the ice, if you will.
Yeah.
This first one's really, really easy.
How many total windows are in New York City?
Oh, I have no clue. I ain't never been there.
Take a guess. First guess.
1 million.
Favorite TV show of all time?
Oh, man. We're going to say Deadliest Catch, just because I can think of it.
One item you can't live without?
Probably my cell phone.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Alcoholic beverage of choice?
We'll say Michelob. Really, whatever's in the fridge.
How many tattoos do you have?
Just one.
If you could have dinner with any famous person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Phil Robertson.
I love that. Would you rather live in 24 hours of sunlight or 24 hours of darkness?
Oh, sunlight all day.
Have you ever gotten a speeding ticket?
No.
Favorite band or musician of all time?
Whew. That's a tough one. We'll say CCR.
Oh, nice. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Man. The fly, so I could chase ducks.
Worst job you've ever had?
There's been a few of them. We'll say tree trimmer.
If you if you had to eat a crayon, which color would you choose?
Man, red.
$1 million today or a penny that doubles each day? That's
Oh,
like math.
$1 million a day.
Favorite breed of dog?
Labrador.
Favorite type of duck to kill?
I'm going to say mallard. I'm a little bit of a mallard purist. I really like shooting black ducks too, though.
Best advice you've ever been given?
Don't quit.
What is the best waterfowl hunting and retriever training podcast right now?
Man, right now, we gotta go currently with the dog training side. I'd have to say it's definitely Bob Owens, Lone Duck Outfitters.
We're big fans of his podcast. In fact, we'll have him on soon. But that was kind of a layup for you to say the Retriever Handler podcast.
I mean, it is.
So,
I enjoy it. I 100% enjoy it.
So, with that being said, this interview is now over. So, thank you for your time. No, I'm just kidding.
Just kidding.
All honesty, we do really appreciate you coming on. You are our first guest, so if this ever takes off and we're ever millionaires because of this podcast, we will always remember who our first guest was. So we really do appreciate it.
I appreciate the invite. I seriously do.
Go ahead, B. Start us on.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are right now with dog training.
Oh, 30 years old. And to be honest with you, growing up, I mean, I've been hunting ducks since there's pictures of my dad carrying me in the timber sloughs around here when I was like 2.5 years old. But I didn't know people didn't duck hunt without dogs. So it's always been kind of part of my life on that side of things. Now, I mean, I am newer to the competition side, but I don't remember one bit of my life where there wasn't a Labrador or a golden retriever following along, playing around somewhere somehow. I've just been lucky to always be around it. But
so, like family dogs that you always had that were hunting with you, or just like buddies that you had that had dogs, or how'd that work?
Nope, they were always family dogs growing up. Then I kind of got my first dog when I'd have been 10 or 11 when we first got him. And he followed me all the way through high school. We were just chasing ducks with buddies, living life. Like I said, I didn't know about hunt test or nothing. I didn't even know you can make money training dogs. I didn't know there was such thing. I thought it was just something you kind of did by yourself. Yeah, I used to read the books and stuff and watch Chris Aiken's videos and go outside and mess around with him. But as long as they sat still and picked up ducks, I didn't really care. So, I mean, like I said, I've just always had one. I didn't know any different. I've been lucky.
What got you into what got you into hunt tests?
I honestly can't remember. It was just talking with some buddies, and it kind of turned into we got on the concept of dogs running field trials and competition. And I said, I'm not really too worried about the field trial thing. As long as my dogs hunt, I don't care. And at this time I was kind of training some dogs for friends and family. Wasn't really doing it for money. And I seen that we had an AKC test just down the road, and I said, I might put one dog in it, and I'm gonna go see what it's about. So I entered a dog in the junior stake, and I went and watched it and ran my dog or whatever. And I said, this is fun. I enjoy it. And it's pretty basic. So I went and watched the senior and master stakes. I said, I like that. That gives me something to push forward, not just simply having, a quote unquote meat dog, but something that's, truly special. And it gives you something. It was giving me something to kind of have different levels of goals, and I need that. I needed something to push me. I needed a driving force, and it's kind of changed me ever since.
Yeah, no, for sure. That got me thinking, and I'm pretty sure it was you were here or there when we were up in Springboro, and it was the started test, and they had that first duck come out, and it landed behind the lily pads. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you run. I'm sure you've run a fair share of started tests. Have you ever seen a started test that difficult?
Oh no, that was the hardest mark I've ever seen in a started or a junior test. I was laughing. It was actually that day was harder than the marks over at season. That was a tough one.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, and if you weren't there, you wouldn't know. We ran a started test up in Springboro, and the first mark came out, and it landed behind a giant mound of lily pads. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it was like the dog could not see it at all. So I think the test dog went out to it, and of course went right up to the lily pads, and then like kind of like looked around, like, now what do I do? But I will say I was surprised at how many of the dogs did, in fact, go and get that duck. You know,
And pass.
I was
and pass.
too.
So yeah, it was impressive for sure. I think there was maybe only one or two dogs who didn't do it, but in my opinion, that was just like a great way for, say, a newcomer that's new to the HRC world to really never come back, right? If it's going to be that hard at started, why would they ever? I mean, if that was me and that was my first started test, I would have been like, screw this, like that. I didn't train for this,
Yeah,
especially at started.
yeah. I kind of disagreed with it, and you know, it's hard for me. I had that test week, and I think I was allowed 8 dogs, and I think I had 6 started dogs. I had a whole slew of them that weekend. And, as the guy who's sitting there, the quote unquote pro, that the only one that was running started that weekend, I felt really bad for the people who didn't have the time to teach essentially a puppy how to mark and cover, let alone marking and cover like that in water. It wasn't a good test, but the pass rate was high, and it gave people something to kind of hold on and be proud of, because sometimes the started test is too easy too. It kind of goes both ways on it. But at the end of the day, it is the beginner stake, and it needs to be treated as it. And like I said, I didn't really agree with that one. The other marks they had were great. It's just one of those things where I think they didn't have a whole lot of leeway on where they were allowed to kind of run on that pond too. Because I was there the next day running seasoned, and we ran very similar marks, but at greater distance. And it didn't, that body of water didn't set up good for a test. So
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I don't think a lot of people went up to the judge and necessarily complained. And I know the HRC, I don't rep. Yeah, I know he was like, he just had knee surgery or something, so he wasn't there. So I don't know. In my eyes, maybe they thought they could get away with it, but if he was there, I truly don't think he would have let them get away with that, because it was way too
it
difficult.
was.
But you're right, and you're right in the sense that it's challenging, and you're able to walk away saying, "Oh, I did that. That's awesome," because it did have a high pass rate. Now,
Yeah.
if it didn't have a high pass rate, then we would be saying something completely different.
Yeah.
But it is kind of the sense of a good accomplishment,
Yeah,
of
100%.
you
I
know,
mean, if I failed a
being
bunch of my
through.
dogs, I'd have probably been pretty salty, and I might have said something. But I get it. I get both sides of it. I mean, we've all been there, right? We've all been to our first test, and it's overwhelming. I mean, it's scary. I mean, I
Oh
still
yeah,
remember the first test I
Sure.
went to. My dog got out of the gunner and took off running through the parking lot. I was,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was embarrassing. So it's
Yeah.
stressful, and
We actually had that happen as well. It was horrible.
yeah.
I mean, it
Brand
feel better.
got out and started running.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it should, dogs will be dogs, but
yeah,
sometimes, especially at started, there, you gotta account for some of that
yeah.
anxiety and high drive that these puppies have, so.
Are you currently a full-time trainer, or do you have a current job as well?
Yes and no. When I'm full time. When I'm like during the winter and stuff, I'm working. I'm doing a lot of electric work, framing houses and stuff like that. Um,
Nice.
I'm lucky to get to kind of bounce around a little bit. Now, I'd prefer to be full all the time, except for duck season. I got to have time for that. But
that has to be so to be like full time at this.
Oh, I can only imagine. So how many personal dogs do you have right now, and how many client dogs will you have when you're like
busiest?
Yeah, at your busiest time, how many client dogs will you have this year?
I'll have anywhere between 12 and 14 client dogs at one time. And right now, I have 6 personal dogs in my house. I guess one's a puppy. She'll be leaving here soon. But then I got another puppy coming back for a started dog. So I pretty much have 6 pretty much all the time in the house. Most of the time, I'm anywhere between 8 and 12 client dogs. Usually around July and August, I'll have 14 to 16. It picks up right before duck season. It gets pretty hectic, but I enjoy it.
So would you say your clientele is mostly for like the quote unquote meat dog, or are
Yeah.
you training a lot for competition?
I'll have 8 or 9 competition dogs, but I'd say on average, a lot of it's just meat dogs. A lot of those people like to go put a started title or a junior title on their dog, maybe a season title. Very few people really care about that finished or that master title. Now, I got some higher end clients that, the grand is something we're going to chase with those dogs and master nationals. But for the most part, it's just meat dogs. It's just building duck dogs that are stayed to shot, and they're going to pick up all your ducks. And we're going to have fun doing it. And for a lot of people, they're probably the best dogs they'll ever hunt with. And I enjoyed, honestly, building a meat dog more than anything. The enjoyment you get out of that's unreal.
Yeah, if I was in your shoes, I would be the exact same way. Like when we trained Pilot and Deuce, for the started dog, that didn't really work out. But just training them to be started dogs to me is just like, it's a lot of fun, and it's not easy, don't get me wrong, but there's not so much pressure. And I can only imagine like what you would feel, or what some of these other pro trainers feel. It's like, hey, you have to get a grand title on this dog, otherwise I'm not coming back to you. So that I can't imagine having that type of pressure. But
like I said, I only got a couple that are like that, and I'm lucky. They understand that it's all a process and it takes time to build everything out. To have an HRCH dog at 1.5 years, 2 years old anymore is pretty common. I don't always agree with it. I think some dogs were pushing too fast. But the average age of a grand dog is like 5 or 6 years old or something. So to have people that are willing to wait is the biggest benefit.
yeah,
I mean, I'm a pretty straight, honest person with most people. If their dog's not gonna cut it, I'll just tell them it ain't worth it. And any dog that you give time, you can do something with. There's very few bad dogs in the world. You can have bad breedings and still have a good dog. But it's all comes down to time and how hard you're willing to push them.
Have you ever been in the situation when somebody gave you a dog and they wanted, say, a started title or a season title, and you had to go back to them saying like, listen, this dog doesn't even want to fetch a tennis ball. Like, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, I had a dog from South Dakota. He didn't have it. He didn't have anything about him to be a gun dog. There was no desire there. There's ways to build drive, and you can force a dog to do it. And I had to have that conversation with him where I said, look, I can take your dog and I can give you, a meat dog. I can force him to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to pick him up. Said he don't want to do it. He don't like it. He wants nothing to do with it. He just wants to be a pet. And I was lucky enough, they understood, and we kind of were talking, what's the best way to go about it. And I told them, honestly, it's going to be to find another dog, which they did. And it turned out and everything worked out great. And that original chocolate dog, he's living his best life and with an older couple. And it all worked out. But, it's sad. I didn't enjoy having to have that conversation. I hope to never have another one. I'm sure eventually it's going to have to happen. But that's the only one I've had, and I've been lucky enough for that. So I can't complain. Plus, that dog had some health issues and stuff, and that was all against him too.
Yeah, if you only had to do that once, like that's not too bad. But like you said, I mean, some dogs just don't have it, and they just don't want to do it. And if, like you said, you could force them all day long, but that's, I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to,
No,
make a dog do something that they don't want to do.
no. What's the point of that? That's going to take the fun out of it. If I got to push a button every time I want
Yeah.
them to go pick my duck up, there's no reason for it.
So actually, I have a question before I ask our next set of questions. But how long do you keep like an average dog for? So do you get a client dog, and then do you keep it for how many months, and then do you give it back, and then does it come back? You know what I mean? Like, what's the timing usually? What does that look like for you?
Well, a lot of it depends on what people are wanting. So any dog I'm going to have that's going to run any competition, we're at least 5 months. Now I can turn a started dog out on average somewhere around that 4-month, early 5-month period. And I tell most people 4 to 6 months for just a basic meat dog, and we're talking a dog that's very obedient dog that's going to be able to pretty much work in any environment, a force fetched dog, gun breaking, a hunt ready dog. But as far as dogs that are going to run finished or master, anything real advanced, we're going to run very complex setups, and we're going to learn how to think and overpower situations and get ourselves out of trouble. We're probably looking, I'd say on average, I have those dogs anywhere between 10 and 12 months. I mean, it's a full-time commitment when they're going to do that. And, it's, some guys can turn them out quicker. I'm never going to claim to ever be a true pro, but I'm going to take time with them, and we're going to build, it all comes down to teaching. You have to teach a dog to do everything before you force them to do anything. And I think a lot of trainers today, they're starting to go back to the teaching methods, but there was a period there where everything was just force. And you kind of see now there's a lot of hybrid training systems where we're teaching, then we're forcing, then we're teaching, then we're forcing, but we're not forced on anything the dog don't already know. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's better for the breed. But some people still have, in my opinion, unrealistic expectations and time frames on how quick people should be able to build a dog. Not every dog, not every dog is board out forward or lean back. It just don't happen. That's not who they are. And modern dogs are different. We live in a whole different time frame with them. Most dogs, depending on what somebody wants, I'd say I have most dogs for 5 months. Like I said, I do a lot of meat dogs.
Yeah, that's cool. And if you were to rank all of the dogs in your truck right now, who would you say is the best dog in your truck right now?
Man, it's hard not to say my dog River, just because I love that little sucker. If I'm going off potential, I'm gonna say one of the pups I got here named Flint. He's actually one of mine. He's an extremely well-bred dog, and he's gonna turn into be something very special. The talent's unmatched on him. He's a Hammer and Hank dog, and he's got it. But it's hard not to say River. I mean, that dog passes most of the tests you put him in. It don't matter what master finish setup he runs, and he gets going. I mean, it just is what it is. I have a client dog named Drika. She's gonna be something too. I look to see her probably running the Grand in the fall. I wouldn't doubt it one bit. So I'm lucky. I'm small, but I have a lot of good dogs. It's really hard to number them out. They're all good in their own way.
I love to hear that though, especially for the puppy.
You said, the puppy's name is Flint. Are you keeping that puppy, or are you going to sell it as a started dog?
I'm gonna plan on keeping him. We're gonna see how he turns out. We're actually doing a lot of white coat setups with him right now. If he turns out and all his health stuff comes back really good, I'm probably gonna just look at being a stud dog for him. Obviously, that's gonna involve putting master national plates and grand titles and stuff on him. And, that's obviously in the far future. We're not in a hurry for any of that. I'd like to get him in a couple derbies and see how he does. But we're gonna probably keep him. Now, if something were to happen, he don't turn out, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business, and I will give somebody the best gun dog they've ever had in their life. But I'd
Right.
like him to turn out. I got a female here at the house I'd really like to put him with eventually, and they're about the same age bracket, and I think it'd be a very killer breeding. So we'll have to see. I'll be able to answer that better maybe in the fall.
How old is he?
Flint is 6 months.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's a puppy.
Puppy.
he's a puppy, but he can run with them.
So Bethany mentioned about your, the best dog on your truck. Speaking of your truck, the first time I met you, I noticed that you have a very interesting trailer that is actually and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's a chassis build modified onto a trailer. Is that correct?
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's
Tell me about that and how that came about.
well, I had a little 6-hole I think it was a mountain top or whatever that brand they sell them down there in Virginia. I didn't have it very long. Now it grew the sucker real quick, and I loved it, but I had to get rid of it. I said I got to have at least 8 holes, and I need something with an ATV rack that I can put gunners on when I'm going to test. I don't have to have 8 hole or don't have to have 12, 13 holes, but I got to be able to carry 12, 13 dogs. So I got looking around and I found that thing over in Indiana. A field trailer had it. So I sure enough went over there and picked that thing up. And it does me good. I can't complain. It's been all over the United States from here to Alabama.
You bought it like that?
I did. I bought it from a field trial kit. Yeah. And he actually bought it from a guy in Michigan who runs some of the HRC tests we run. So it's kind of gone full circle.
Okay. Yeah.
That's cool.
No, it's a very interesting setup, and I like it a lot. In fact, I told you, I said, when you go to sell that thing, let me know because I might want first dibs on that.
Oh, yeah. We'll hook you up.
So we've noticed that you've often, back to the started dogs and everything, we noticed that you've sold some started dogs in your past. And I guess our main question is, how the hell did you do that? Because we failed. We failed at giving away these 2 puppies in our home, and we just got way too attached. So we want to know how you do it.
It's hard. Every time you sell one, you are losing a piece of the family. The biggest thing for me is I have so many dogs in and out, that hole's always kind of filled. With that said, we failed on the first one. Or I didn't fail on the first one, but my wife did. And he's now the little red meathead that hangs around on the trailer all the time, and I can't seem to shake him. Ain't nobody wanting to pick him up off me, but nah, he worked out. But I've sold a handful of them. Most of the time they're going, or really all the time, shouldn't even say most, they're going to better places, and they're doing things I could never dream of doing for them. The last one I sold, he went down to Arkansas. He's living with an older gentleman, Mr. Carr, and he owns Twin Cypress Duck Club. And it's a guide business over by DeWitt. And that dog has picked up so many ducks. That man loves that dog like you wouldn't. It's like a child dog. And getting to see the enjoyment on his face when I showed up at his house teal hunting with this little black puppy, that made it for me.
Aw.
It's worth it. It's hard, but it's worth it. To see the enjoyment that these dogs are giving people, and most of my clientele with the started dogs, they are older people, and they just ain't got time to do the puppy thing, and I get it. And I'm lucky, I campaign those dogs around a little bit, hunt, test them, but they go on, they live better lives. I wish I'd trade my life for some of those dogs, to be honest with you. Shoot, go stand in the trees in Arkansas every day of the week. Who wouldn't want to do that?
That's for sure.
I kept trying to tell myself when we were trying to get through this, especially when we essentially had Deuce sold to a guy in Texas, I kept trying to say to myself and to Bethany, like, he's going to go to Texas and he's going to retrieve more ducks than I will ever see or that he will ever see here in southwestern PA. So I kept trying to instill that in our brains that he's going to go do what he loves, but at the end of the day, we just couldn't do it. So I commend you on doing it, and kudos to you for doing it. But
at the same time, though, you brought up a really good point, Matt, where you're saying you always have like that hole to fill because you have so many dogs in your trucks at one time. You have so many dogs in your house. It's like you can keep them if you want, you could sell them. So it's like constant flow for you. And these were our first 2 dogs and that we've actually trained and held in our house. And I think that made a huge difference for us too, because we didn't have any hole to fill.
No, I don't blame you guys at all. It's tough, right? You're supposed to care about them. I mean, you can't, in my opinion, you can't take a starter dog and throw them in a kennel. They got to be a house dog first. If they're going to be a house dog, you're going to bond with them. And the longer you bond with them, man, it is hard to shake them. I mean, you don't get numb to it. I mean, you don't. I got client dogs that when I have them here for 10 months, I mean, it's like losing part of me.
Yeah.
I get it. It's really hard. But hey, you guys, I mean, those 2 boys picked up a lot of ducks this year.
They did. We're proud of them for sure. I'm not. It's not like I'm kicking myself for keeping them, but at the same time, it would have been nice to kickstart the business a little bit and kind of get our name out there. But we're not regretting it by any means.
No, I mean, there's a puppy to be bought somewhere every day of the week.
That's right.
It's never too late.
Exactly. We'll try again, maybe.
Talk to us a little bit about your past waterfowl season. It looks like you killed, from your Instagram, it looks like you killed a pretty good amount of geese and ducks. So kind of give us a recap on that and how the season went for you.
It was good. It wasn't great. I think, man, I was looking the other day. I think we killed 309 birds. Of course, we're, me and the group of guys I hunt with, we're hunting 50 days of the 60-day season. I mean, we're out there grinding at it, being stupid because we don't have anything better to do with our time or our lives. And but hunting here around the house isn't what it used to be. I bet I'd have to look, but we probably killed maybe 45, 50 ducks around here, and we didn't kill many mallards. The goose hunting was extremely tough. I think I only killed 30 geese. But we always go out to North Dakota, and if you ain't ever been out there, you better get out there before things change because if you're a waterfowler, you got to see it once. It's a special thing. A good group of guys and some good dogs, and you're going to shoot more ducks than you know what to do with. You're going to see way more ducks than you know what to do with. And it's an experience in itself. And I'm lucky to get to do that every year.
So when you say things change, what do you mean by that? Before things change?
So I've been going out there for, probably 10 or 12 years. And I'd say the first 5 years you go out there, if you heard another gunshot, it was very surprising. Anymore, it's getting to be very commercialized. A lot of outfitters, a lot more out-of-staters freelancing, doing the thing. The farmers are getting a little more stingy with letting you on their property. It's getting to be more like, I don't want to say hunting around here because I don't have to go sit in a spot at 2 a.m. out there, but there's getting to be a lot of pressure, and it's taking some of the enjoyment, I guess, of the vastness of the prairie region. It's not feeling as vast as it used to. And they're kind of starting to get state-wise funny on out-of-staters. There's been a lot of talks on putting some different rules and laws in place that kind of limit our hunting. And in fact, they have. Nothing major, but it's something everybody should experience. You better do it soon.
So would you rather go to North Dakota or Arkansas? Take all the outside noise out of it. Which one would you choose?
Man, I'm gonna say North Dakota, just because it's easier to freelance it. Arkansas is a private man's game. The The public's good, don't get me wrong. I mean, you can go for guys like us with the areas we are with no real true flyway. Anytime you cross that Mississippi River, we're going to be in paradise anyways. But the amount of pressure on Arkansas public land it's mind-boggling. It's definitely turned into the private land game down there. So, I mean, I got to say North Dakota all day long, but if I'm going to go kill a mallard duck, you put me in Arkansas in them trees and I'm pretty dang happy.
So did you hunt when you were in Arkansas? Did you hunt flooded timber the whole time, or was it like
This
you know?
this year was mostly buckbrush. The water levels are real low, so there's a lot of like big willow sloughs. Um, it look a lot like if like Pomachuming floods. It gets up in all that underbrush.
Yeah.
That's kind of the holes you're hunting when the water's low down there. Just kind of sloughs and cypress swamps and willow brush. Um, I know it did get up out of the banks towards the end of the year. I didn't get a chance to make it back down there and chase some things, which upsets me. But we, I mean, we struggled when I was there a couple of times. I've been there this year. It wasn't no good. The birds weren't there, but still beats sitting here hunting.
Oh, yeah. So I'm a member of, and I don't ask me why I am, but I joined an Arkansas public land duck hunter page on Facebook, and it is everything you said. Like, it is so competitive, and it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
these guys just like go after each other on Facebook, and I so badly want to say, and I never will because I just stay out of it, but I just want to say, like, guys, we're all on the same team here. Like, we're all just trying to duck hunt. We're all just trying to go out and have fun doing what we do. But these guys are just absolutely ruthless to each other. It's crazy.
Oh, it's insane, and I don't know how much public land hunting you do, but down here in this part of Ohio, it can be very similar too. Guys don't stop. They're not going to stop talk to you on the side of the road when you're throwing your decoys up. They're not going to wave at you. They're usually going to scowl and drive away a lot faster. Heaven forbid if you beat somebody to the hole. There's no conversation of wanting to hunt together. It's, cussing you out and get out of here type stuff. It's very competitive, and I think that's kind of the realm of what duck hunting's turned into. I think a lot of private land access is been kind of taken away from a lot of people, and it's changing the sport. But like you said, everybody's got to start realizing we're all on the same team, or we ain't gonna have it anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, the duck numbers ain't there. It ain't what it was.
Absolutely. And I'm a little bit afraid to see what it's going to look like in 5-10 years, but
Oh yeah.
for right now, I mean, it's good in our area, but
It's not terrible, but
at any point it can just flip like that. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. So what was your most memorable hunt this year? Was it North Dakota?
Man, I'm gonna say the most memorable hunt probably was North Dakota. It's probably the first morning. It was just a buddy, a dog. He has a dog I trained for him, and my dog River and his wife. And we killed a 3-man limit, and we shot a very nice mixed bag over some very nice looking water. And the dogs worked good. The ducks were coming in 3s and 4s and 2s, and we got to take turns shooting. We let her shoot first every time, and she had a blast. And it was her first real duck hunting, and getting to see that was awesome. Plus, she was working her little black dog. I mean, it don't get any better than that.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I would say it's probably the best hunt. There were some pretty good retrieves too, and it wasn't on that hunt. That was all pretty easy. I actually seen a swan get shot, and a retrieve made on that. That
wow.
probably one of the coolest things I've seen.
In
Yeah, so North Dakota's a draw state for swan tags, and my buddy's wife, she drew a tag, and I had when we go, there's a whole slew of us. I got friends, all over, and I have some friends from the Eastern Shore, and they shoot a lot of swans, so they always bring their swan decoys, and they can call them and do all the whole stuff. And we hunted this fairly large pothole, standing waist deep cattail water. And we were shooting some ducks, and they started yelling, there's swans coming. You telling her, get ready, get ready. Jess was getting ready, and they started mouth calling this swan in, and that big son of a gun backpedaled over the decoys about 20 yards, and she laid him down with that 20 gauge. Oh, it was something. It was something to see. Then their little dog made retrieve. She's only 40 pounds, soaking wet, just a little ball of fire. And she's actually the first dog I've trained to retrieve a swan. And it was all awesome. I mean, the whole thing from start to finish, it never gets old out there. There's always something new.
Well, those swans, they're like massive, right?
Yeah, they're huge. Their wingspan's a lot wider than my arms.
Yeah.
And the dog didn't have any problem retrieving it?
Nope. She, like I said, we were standing in the waters like waist deep. So she just really, all she had to do was push it back.
Yeah.
She did try to put it in her dog blind with her in her mow marsh. That was interesting.
That's so
funny. Once we got all that worked out, it was great.
Yeah.
I was like, no, the thing's bigger than you. It ain't gonna fit in that mow marsh, but we got it all figured out. Yeah, she didn't try it one bit.
If your dog will pick up a swan, you won't have anything to worry about.
No, that dog, she'll run through a brick wall to get a duck. So I wasn't too surprised.
So what does your plan look like for hunt tests this year? Do you have any solid tests that you'll definitely hit this year, or are you kind of just like playing it all by ear?
Man, I've been kind of, obviously I'm going to run a lot of HRC. That's kind of turning into my bread and butter, chasing the grand. I got to get more points on some dogs and try to get them finished up. I'd like to have 4 or 5 dogs go to the grand in the fall versus the couple I got in the spring where I don't even know if the clients are going to want them to go. Being so close to after hunting season, there's a lot to work out through there before you're grand ready. So I'll probably try to jump in as many HRC tests as I can get into. I've obviously been waiting to see what we're going to do with Pennsylvania tests, as they're the closest. I'll go to St. Clair and, Southern Michigan, all that stuff. A lot of AKC tests. They're not necessarily my favorite. I like building a master dog. I don't always agree with the test format to call it a true, test for a hunting dog. But as far as building a good dog, a master test is pretty hard to beat. And I'll run a bunch of those just because I can run a master test in Ohio every weekend from May through July. And my clientele prefer that. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them for not wanting to travel. And, they want to come watch their dogs run and stuff. So it's hard to convince them that, hey, we're going to go down to Tennessee and we're going to go run down here. Or we're going to go run the Music City test or, Kentucky and stuff. It's hard. So it'll be a lot of AKC tests. May and June, I'll probably be on the road every weekend.
So have you ever been to the Grand?
No. Nope. I've never been to the Grand. I've had dogs, obviously get their HRCHs and can go. It's kind of been one of them things where I put it off to the side and wasn't really worried about it. And now I'm starting to see there's a little weight to carry with it. It's obviously been in the back of my head with my personal dogs. The time frame to do it for me is very hard. It's hard to say I'm not going to train your dog for this week while I go down there and run. Plus, I'm down there a week before to pre-train.
Yeah.
But we're changing on that. I think I'm going to go ahead and start pursuing it, especially as I got more and more dogs qualifying. It's a very desirable thing to have on a piece of paper, I guess I'll say. But plus, I mean, it shows how good the dog is, and I think it proves you as a trainer too.
Yeah.
And you can. There's a reason their pass rate's so low.
Mm-hmm.
So you've run a handful and more than a handful of finish test and season test and started test. Do you still get nervous heading to the line?
Not really. I mean, I do to an extent, right? If you're not nervous, you're not having fun. You don't care. It's honestly dog dependent for me. There's a couple dogs that I'm on pins and needles with. more than capable of doing the work. I don't know what this joker's gonna do when I start shucking that gun.
Yeah.
Started test probably make me the most nervous. You know, you're cutting this puppy loose in an environment he ain't never been in, around a whole lot of different dogs that he ain't used to. And because most of my started dogs that I'm running for clients are 7 months old, and they are young and crazy, and it's just what it is. And we've been cooped up on the trailer all night. And I probably get more nervous about that. The season's by far the hardest, though. I say seasoned and then the senior on the AKC side. They're definitely the hardest tests. They're they're not always straightforward. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. I mean, the jump from started to season, what you're introducing to those, for those season scenarios is far greater than really from season to finish, right? I mean, from season to finish, you're adding a third mark and then you have to honor, but there's way more from started to season.
yeah, and that's it. And plus, you're taking that walk up out of the equation when you're running finished. We ain't got no walk up and finished, which I'm not sure why they have it in season, because we ain't going to run it and finished. So I get the control side, but I think I'd rather them take that walk up out and go ahead and put an honor in seasoned. All those seasoned dogs, for the most part, they can honor anyways.
Right.
They've all done it in training, right? Like, in my opinion, any dog running season should be training at the finished level.
Yeah.
So it should be more than capable. I'd rather them do that and get rid of that dumb walk up. Throwing them most of the time, they're throwing the bird 10 feet in front of the dog anyways. Like,
Happens every time. So for me, and I'm nowhere near the grand yet, but what would make me the most nervous is that 5th day with upland. Do you train for a lot of upland, or do you hunt a lot of upland?
no. I I have started working on upland training. I actually have a trainer down south that's kind of all he does is the upland thing, and he's been helping me learn how to do it, because it's something. And honestly, that's part of why I've been avoiding the grand, is the upland side of things. To me, it don't entice me. I'm not an upland hunter. Um, I don't enjoy it. It's not my thing. So to train upland dogs ain't as enjoyable. Like, I'll do a couple pointers every year and stuff, and you gotta keep it coming. But that 5th series, with the couple dogs I got, I know I'm gonna make the 5th series. I don't question them one bit, or I wouldn't even think about taking them. That 5th series, that scares me. I'd hate to go out on the 5th. I mean, that's a terrible time to go out. I think I'd rather go out on a break on the 2nd day.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
But
Yeah, it's scary for me, and like you said, I don't enjoy that type of hunting, so it's not something I really want to train for or really train my dogs to do. But if I ever want to get to that level and stud them out, it's like, should I be doing it now while they're young and trying to get them ready for it? I don't know, but it's just not enjoyable to me.
no, and it's one of them things. To me, I would never give that dog the freedom to hunt until they're fully finished, right? Not necessarily finished title, but we're handling, we're moving, we're working, we're sitting on whistles. I mean, anytime you cut the leash off a dog and give them that much freedom, something else is getting taken away somewhere. Something's eroding, and it's going to be control, obviously. And that's my big thing too with it, is I get why they do it, right? You have the ultimate hunting retriever. And I ain't gonna say, like, I don't. When I'm in North Dakota, my dogs go pheasant hunting for a little bit. Sure, we're walking around doing a little bit of it. But to get a dog to that level, to sit on a whistle, on the flush, and the shot while cutting them loose and giving them that freedom, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, you're working your whole life on, running blinds, having that dog sit on a whistle, listen to you, listen to your cast, and then now all of a sudden you take the leash off and it's like, all right, go find the bird. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
but something's got to give there. Something's gonna erode, like you said. So that's a fantastic point. And there's a fine line, I guess, with that. And anybody who passes the grand deserves it 100%. And I hope some people don't take it for granted because that is an insane accomplishment.
I'll tell you what, it's crazy. And when I look at guys like Steve Merrick and Eric Langler and Zach Patrick, all these guys running around that have great dogs that are consistently passing the grand, and they get to pick their heads and stuff a little bit at the tests we go to. I mean, I don't know how they hold it together to do it. I don't know how they're consistent enough to do it, but those guys are crazy consistent, and I don't think anybody gives them enough credit for it. It's it's insane, man. I mean, I hope to be there with them, but it ain't easy.
Do you think there's in terms of studying dogs, do you think there is obviously there's a difference, but do you think there's a major difference between getting just a finish title on them versus a grand title on them in terms of, I guess, how much money you could essentially get out of them? Do you think there's that much of a difference?
I do. For a dog to have a grand title, that dog obviously had to pass two of them. Plus accumulate like 500 some points through regular finish test. I can't remember exactly what it is. I'm not good with the point system, but yeah, they had to pass two grands. They've had to be, in the top 20% of dogs at the grand to pass out of anywhere between 800 to 1,000 dogs. That separates the men from the boys. If I'm looking for a dog for a stud dog, I'm going to choose that grand dog over that finished dog. Now, I think a finished dog is a good dog. A finished dog's a great hunting dog. There ain't a better hunting dog than a finished dog.
Yeah.
And I think a finished dog that has a master title carries a little more weight. I do. And I think all that carries over. But there's something to be said about a grand dog. They're a specimen, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, we agree.
That's a crazy accomplishment.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's people on the outside world will see that and they'll just say, "Oh, cool, they're a grand hunting retriever champion," but they have no clue what goes into that.
No, and it's like look at Eric Klingler's wake dog. How many dogs is? That dog is one of the best.
Yeah.
Look at all the puppies he's putting on the ground. They're all good. They're all doing it. That's why that dog made Hammer and Hank famous around here, in my opinion.
Yep.
Again, that's just my opinion, but
no, there's
right. Something to be said about it.
Yeah.
Deuce and Pilot's dad, he's only how old, and he passed the grand how many times, Jordan?
I think he's 6 and passed it like
10 times.
9 times now or something.
Yeah.
He might be 7 and passed. I sent you the breeding before, I think, last year.
Yeah. He's out of that they're out of that ice dog, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ice needs whiskey. Yeah.
Yep. I played with a puppy that's out of that around here. He's a good dog. Didn't he just win an SRS?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he's I don't know how many, but that's on his his name that's like 15 words long. Yeah, that's one of them too. So
I was thinking I seen that dog won an SRS here last weekend down in Texas.
Oh, you mean like just one, like last week, just one? Oh, I don't know.
I think it was him. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
a couple of them
passed there. So that very well could be. I'll have to check that out. I'm glad you brought that up.
No,
and that short amount of time is just.
Oh yeah,
I just can't comprehend it. He's only 6 and he's that accomplished. It's crazy.
and a dog like that's more than just training. That's genetic. That dog is.
Yes.
It's gifted. It's no different than an NFL linebacker or an NBA player or Mark McGuire at the plate. It's just there's something special about them.
Yep.
And they don't come around often.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of them while you can. We'll wrap it up with this last question. And can you give us, 1 or 2 main goals that you have for this upcoming hunt test season?
Yeah. Obviously, one of them is I have a handful of dogs that'll be running tests. So I clearly want to pass every single dog with no fails. That's obviously a goal every year, but that's including the grand this year. Any dog I take down there, I'm for sure taking River. So, I'd like to have a clean sweep no matter what test I'm running. But honestly just to keep growing and just keep turning out duck dogs. As long as I'm doing that and I'm staying busy with it, I can't complain. I've been lucky enough to make it this long, and it's only been getting better, so I can't complain. That's kind of my goals. Keep bringing enjoyment.
Yeah. Well, no, you're doing a great job. And I know every time I've seen you at a test, you're extremely respectable, respectful, I should say.
Yeah.
And everyone respects you too. So, because I know with sometimes like, you were running different stakes and sometimes we'd have to wait on you, not like wait like hours, but maybe like 5-10 minutes. And every time you would come, you would always just apologize. For some people don't always do that, right? They think we should be waiting for them just because of who they are.
It's funny you say that. I was thinking about this the other night. Not to drag this thing out, but
No, you're good.
yeah, I've been lucky enough where I've been running tests for a good bit at the moment, and I still haven't forgot about my first couple tests. I haven't forgot about the first time I got a gun violation in a season test. I'm not that old and I ain't been doing it that long, so all that stuff's still pretty fresh. And I feel like when I'm there with my trailer and I'm walking around, I have my logo on my handler's jacket. I got to represent myself, and I'm also trying to represent some of the other guys there too that are doing this as a job. You can't be a jerk to everybody. I get we're dog people and we're different, and we may not be people type people, but when you're at a test, there's a lot of new people at every test. And the way you carry yourself and the way you help them is the way we're going to grow it. And right now, we ain't growing the test. I mean, we're losing ground. I mean, we're going through it now with high flowers and you guys. Like, I'm not sure what we're going to do there, but
Exactly. Yeah.
we're not seeing a bunch of young people at the test either. I mean, I hate to say it, but a lot of times, I'm only 30 and I'm one of the youngest guys there. And I think a lot of it comes down to some people are just not real friendly, and they're going to have to learn. They're going to have to start being friendly and start being more approachable and able to help the guy who's never been there before. There's just a lot of it sometimes, and I hope to see some of that change. And that's part of why I try to carry myself that way is I don't want to ever be that guy. I want to be the guy that if you have a question, I'm going to help you. If I can't help you, I'm going to get in touch with somebody that might be able to. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we ain't making money chasing a ribbon. I mean, you don't get paid for the ribbons you got. We're there to have fun. And, I'm there to push my dogs and represent. And I want to see everybody pass. I mean, I hate watching people fail, and I hate when people aren't real nice to everybody there. So, I mean, I'm glad you said that. Makes you feel good. Means I'm at least trying because there's sometimes I'm not in a real good mood at them things. I mean, I have my moments too.
I think you said there.
Well said.
That was very well said. And it's not just us that says it. Like people at our club will say the same thing. How nice you are and how well you represent yourself and all your dogs. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing because people notice for sure.
Yeah, and we appreciate you coming out and supporting our club and coming to our hunt tests. It's great to see you there. So
yeah, thank you. I enjoy it. I'm lucky. I'm lucky to get to do it. I mean, every day I hook that trailer up, it's a good day to be alive.
exactly.
Absolutely.
That's how it's got to be.
I know.
All right, Matt. Well, this has been a great episode. You did fantastic, and I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to you right now, but that was fun to listen to. I wish you all the best for this coming hunt test season. I'm sure I'll see you at either High Flyers or Art Test, wherever that may be. Southern Michigan we'll be at again, so we'll definitely see you around and maybe even do a couple training days this summer.
Yeah, we definitely should. We need to make something happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got some grounds that are about halfway. I think we can make something work. So
yeah,
you name the time and place, and we're there.
Yeah, we can make a weekend out of it even.
Yeah. Sounds good, Matt. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
Appreciate it.